Let me talk to you about a show called No Good Nick. And also, while I was on this girl's side from the jump, the story starts off with this girl pulling up on the family's doorstep, whose name is Nick, who had lost her parents 6 months ago in a car accident and had been bouncing around foster care for the past 6 months, until Child Services found this family as relatives. Now, apparently the family was never notified anything about this, even though she said they did, so she pulled up with documentation and everything. And then a social worker came through and later solidified the whole thing. The family then decides to take her in. But little do they know that she has a whole sinister plot of her own when it comes to this family. It turns out not only is she a con artist, but she has con artist foster parents with their own network of kids running con jobs and shit. And the foster mother was the one who confirmed the con as a social worker. Also, while her mom is actually dead, her dad is actually still alive. Only problem is he's in prison and she's making money on the side to help him get a lawyer. She was originally supposed to secretly dose the whole family with some chemicals and shit and knock them out while everybody robbed their house. But she canceled that shit when she started getting the warm and fuzzy feelings. And she lies to the foster parents by saying that they have more than just this house, which they do. Now you may be wondering, why did Nick choose this specific family in the first place? Spoilers incoming. If you want to watch the show, please leave this now in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, the family as a whole ain't shit. Or at least did one ain't shit thing that backfired heavy. Her and her dad used to own an Italian restaurant called Franzelli's. And they were hella happy and successful and even singing songs and shit. But the mother of the family just started her restaurant and saw them as competition. So she ended up not only copying their menu, but also selling their shit at cheaper prices. Just so she can run them out of business. But they didn't let it give them down because they had a plan. And that was to install a brick pizza oven. In the meantime, they still weren't getting any customers. And one of the reasons why is because the daughter used her social media influence to make a bunch of fake reviews with her friends, which Nick ended up finding out about. Now, to make up for it, he was going to ask for an extension on the loan they already had. Problem is, the husband of the wife was the person in charge of giving him a loan, and he denied that shit simply because of the fact that it was Franzelli's. And it's actually a double whammy because this is technically against policy. He's a good customer, and because no other bank was taking him, he decided to go into getting money from the mob to finish the brick oven. When the oven was done, Nick used the last of her money to make a bunch of flyers and menus and shit to post on people's cars and shit. Now the son was the pettiest motherfuckers because not only did he pick up all the menus that were already put out, he took the whole box of menus and ran off with them. And it wasn't even out of love, it was because he wanted a car. Now even with the brick oven, they still didn't get no customers and they had to release the only help they had. On top of that, the father was then late with a mob payment, leading for him to hit a lick to pay them off. And right after that, they were actually back in business. But Nick's father wasn't clean enough with the lick and got arrested in front of everyone inside and outside the restaurant. And that's when Nick and her father realized that all the people that fucked them over were part of that restaurant across the street. I will say though, the mother is most innocent in this picture because she was just doing what she does as a restaurant. She wasn't doing any extra backhanded shit like the rest of the family, although stealing someone else's menu is pretty fat. This all led to Nick being taken in by the con artist foster parents. That put Nick on the road to revenge against his whole family, and at this point in time, they are buying her freaking family restaurant. And to make matters worse, she actually becomes conflicted about getting revenge because the family actually shows her so much love. But each of them end up proving that they're not really guilty about what they've done and don't even feel sorry about it happening to someone else. Now, I believe this whole series needed another season, but unfortunately, it got canceled. I will tell you this, when she got her revenge, I was happy as a motherfucker, even though she was feeling guilty. At least it came full circle with them recognizing what they did, were sorry for it, and were actually willing to accept her as actual family. 8 out of 10 show, in my opinion.